Welcome to episode number 296 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording February 15, 2020. A lot of things to talk about this week, including VR for empathy, brand voices, combating viral disinformation, coding refugees, bug bounty, augmented directions, site security deadline, reviews in Google Search Console, Adobe Acrobat fail, Minnesota Badgers, and a lot more. BL kicks it off with the best story of the week. BL, what was that?
Well, it's a horrifying but must-see and immersive VR experience. It shows life in prison from a child's point of view. This is from the YouTube blog, and this astounded me. There's 48,000 children in jails in the US, and many of them are 13 and 14-year-old girls who have been jailed as child prostitutes, but in actual fact, they were victims of child rape and trafficking, according to Malika Sada Sar, who's the human rights lawyer for Google's Senior Counsel on Civil and Human Rights, who wrote this post. In prison, many of the children were isolated for weeks on end, spending 23 hours a day in solitary confinement. So this week, YouTube and Google, in partnership with the Campaign for Fair Sentencing of Youth, launched what's called Project Witness, and it uses VR immersive storytelling in an attempt to build empathy through proximity. The stories are all told by former child inmates, and it works like this. The VR film anchors the viewer in the experience of an incarcerated child. You're literally in the cell with them. And you can see it on the desktop or with a headset. You're able to see and hear and almost feel the experience of being in solitary confinement from the viewpoint of a child in an adult prison. YouTube and Google have supported lots of efforts to improve our criminal justice system. I didn't know about this. Over the past 4 years, they've given over $30 million in grants to criminal justice reform organizations. They partnered on projects like love letters, helping children send digital love letters to their parents who are incarcerated on Mother's and Father's Day. So it's a tough watch, but you should watch it.
Great project. It doesn't sound very, it sounds like it could be in the worst too.
Well, I mean, I thought about that, and then I thought like just bringing attention to it belongs in the best, so that's why it's there. You can kind of make up your own mind about that.
Right. Yeah. So this is a fascinating story from Media Post by Chuck Martin. In PR and advertising, we talk about brand voice, quote unquote, all the time. And what we mean by that is the tone in which tone of language that a brand adopts when it communicates through its marketing messaging. But Amazon now is offering a new feature for the Echo smart speaker called Brand Voice, and it can be used to create a unique voice to represent a brand's persona. It's created by the Amazon Poly team of artificial intelligence research scientists and linguists. We talked about Amazon Poly in episode 215. It's a cloud service of Amazon Web Services that converts text to lifelike speech. We talked about it in episode 218, I'm sorry, because they have a WordPress plugin that can turn blog posts into speech, into voice dictation or whatever. But anyway, this team has been working with Kentucky Fried Chicken of Canada and the National Australian Bank to create unique brand voices for those brands. KFC's voice sounds like a Southern U.S. accent of Colonel Sanders, of course. And we'll embed the audio snippet in the show notes so you can hear the brand voice for Colonel Sanders. But this is going to be more and more important as people interact more and more with their smart speakers, for brands to think about what your voice, the actual voice of your brand, sounds like.
Well, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's another one that could Could have been in worse, but again, important. And this is about how coronavirus misinformation is being controlled on social media. So to combat misinformation, Facebook, Twitter, and Google have prioritized links and pop-ups on search results, and they direct you to information from official health partners like the World Health Organization. This is from CBC News. It's from Andrea Bellemare. The World Health Organization itself has a page dedicated to myth-busting claims about the virus, and some of the claims include whether hand dryers can kill the virus. They can't. If it's safe to get a letter or a package from China, yes, it is. And if putting sesame oil on your skin will protect you from coronavirus, no, it won't. So Facebook still may surface information that's less relevant to users, good old Facebook. A recent search by CBC News included results from various news organizations, and it also had links to an event listing called Carnival Coronavirus Brazil that appears to be a joke, and a link to a public health event in Sweden. On Instagram, users may first be directed to accounts that purport to aggravate coronavirus news, but are not associated with any media organization. There are virus meme accounts without seeing a pop-up directing them to the World Health Organization. You're in the wrong place. On Google, users first see recent news events related to the virus, but then they're directed to the World Health Organization for more. So, be careful out there. Don't rub sesame oil on yourself.
Yeah, because it's much more valuable for your stir fry than
Exactly.
All right, good to know. I won't have to waste my sesame oil.
It's such a strong smell. I mean, can you imagine walking around with it?
No. This is I don't know how I found this, because this is a site that is new to me, called It's Nice That is the name of the site. This is an article by Jenny Brewer, who reports on an organization called Hack Your Future, which is a nonprofit coding school for refugees. So by way of championing the graduates of Hack Your Future, agency 72 and Sunny in Amsterdam has hidden portraits of the graduates of the school in the code of homepages of major companies like eBay and Accenture. The Behind the Source campaign features 7 portraits that are built in ASCII text art that you can see by doing the View Page Source feature of your browser on these sites. So the graduates now work as web developers for the companies that are taking part in this campaign. It is intended to celebrate their success and in a geeky way, obviously, and hoping to reframe the discourse around refugees and the contributions that they bring to the countries they move to. And then it also, of course, highlights how learning to code can change people's lives. One of the portraits is of Saria Al-Kabaki, who is Hack Your Future's first student and studied computer science in Damascus before the Syrian war broke out. But while living in a refugee camp in Amsterdam, he built an online platform for underprivileged citizens in need of support and services, and is now front-end developer at a cybersecurity company called Zyber. So we'll put a link to the article in the show notes, and include ASCII art for those that are not familiar with what that looks like.
Wait, so you have to look at the code to see the images?
Yeah, so you go to the homepage of like eBay, I guess, is one of the participants, and if you right-click and choose View Page Source, then you'll see the portrait, the visual portrait in code. It's done in code, but it's actually a visual portrait of the refugee in question.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So here's Facebook doing something right. One of the few times. They have a bug bounty program, and they've been rewarding bug hunters for important work, including finding something that impacted 9.5 million of Facebook's followers. This is from a Wired story by Lily Hay Newman. Facebook said last Friday that in 2019, its bug bounty saw its largest number of accepted bugs since the program launched 9 years ago. And it paid out its highest award, which was $65,000. And it began inviting select researchers to evaluate new features of Facebook before they're launched. So in 2019, Facebook awarded about 2.2 million in bounties to researchers from more than 60 companies, double the 1.1 million they paid out in 2018. And since they launched the program, they've paid out 9.8 million. And a side project of the bug bounty in 2019, Facebook selected outside researchers to vet Facebook dating, checkout on Instagram, and the redesigned code named FB5 before the features launched. So the highlights: awarded over 2.2 million to researchers from more than 60 companies, received about 15,000 reports in total, and issued bounties on over 1,300 of them. Average bounty amount was $1,500. Made over $35,000 in matching donations to charities when security researchers wanted to direct their awards to these various causes. And the top 3 countries for bug bounties based on the sum of payouts were India, Tunisia, and the US. So finally, Facebook doing something right, and has been doing it all along.
Well, I mean, that's a best practice, right? The folks who developed the app for the Iowa caucuses may want to pay attention
God,
to
they
this.
should have had a bug bounty. Really.
Yeah. So it's been 15 years since the original launch of Google Maps. They're celebrating their 15th year anniversary. Lifehacker has a story on some of the new features that they're rolling out. Brendan Hesse is the author, one of which is the live view mode, which is apparently coming out of beta with a real-time AR assistance when you're walking in a location. So you can not just see where you're going on the map, but you can use your camera to look through where you're going to and see in real time augmented reality elements in the map itself or on your location. So it shows the exact distance and direction of your destination. The problem is with GPS, and I found this using the Google Maps app in like Chicago, is with tall buildings, it blocks out your GPS. GPS does not work nearly as well. And so it'll show you on the map where where you're at, but on the map will show you somewhere else. So because the GPS is working, so to get around that problem, the Google Maps app now recognizes the buildings that you point your camera at. So you know that Google has their cars have gone through every major city. They've taken pictures basically of every building. So they just have your camera use computer vision to recognize the buildings that are nearby and tie your location to what it knows about those buildings, which is a pretty ingenious solution to that. So now it's more accurate where you're at when you're getting walking directions. And then they're also adding public transportation features. So information such as the current temperature of a bus or a train. I don't know how they get that, but interesting. Whether there are wheelchair and disability accessible entrances, seating, and other assistance. If there's a security personnel or other safety measures on board. Public transit. So those are some of the things rolling out. But I found the workaround for the location for walking directions to be particularly fascinating at how they figured that out.
I'll tell you another place Google Maps doesn't work and GPS doesn't work. If you're in the woods in Pennsylvania at night, oh my God, did we get lost one night? We thought it was the end of our lives. Well, we finally found our way out. Oh, that was a horrible night. But this is a very good idea.
What were you doing in the woods in Pennsylvania?
Coming back from dinner, trying to take a shortcut. My cousin and I have had a lot of adventures. She had a house there.
All right. Well, remind me never to take you to the Boundary Waters canoe area.
Oh, I am out of good news.
All right, I got some more Google stuff. Google is going to strictly enforce security measures on websites in the near future. This is from The Verge's Chris Welch, who reports that Joe De Blasio, who is on the Chrome security team, wrote a blog post saying that they will be, quote, will gradually ensure that secure HTTPS pages only download secure files. Insecurely downloaded files are a risk to users' security and privacy. For instance, insecurely downloaded programs can be swapped out for malware by attackers, and eavesdroppers can read users' insecurely downloaded bank statements. So, beginning with Chrome version 8.2, which is due for release in April, Chrome will start warning users if they're about to download mixed content executables from a secure website. So what that means is, like, when you go to download some software from a website, the website itself would use HTTPS encryption, but might link to the downloadable file using HTTP no S. So that would be mixed content. The website is secure, but the actual download is not over a secure encrypted line. So what they want to do is make sure everything is. Version 83 of Chrome will those executable downloads that are not secure will be blocked, and 84. Those warnings will apply to PDF and doc files. Version 85, it'll apply to audio and images, video files. And then version 86, all mixed downloads will be blocked. So you need to get your websites completely secure using HTTPS by October, which is the estimated release date for that version of Chrome. So webmasters get to work.
Well,
and
isn't Chrome already taking up all of our memory, and isn't this going to make it take up even more? I mean, I've stopped using Chrome for just that reason. It slows my computer to a crawl.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't have a problem with Chrome. I mean, it's a good thing. Everything should be secure. Everything should be secure. So, they're forcing the issue. Just more work for people who deal with websites. Lastly, Google's Search Console is adding review snippets for performance and testing. This is from Media Post, Lurie Sullivan. So websites that have the ability of users to leave reviews, like ratings and reviews, they typically use the reviews schema, special coding to implement that. And now with Google Search Console, you will be able to test whether your code is properly implemented using some debugging features. And then you'll be able to see whether there's any errors or warnings on your pages that have that markup involved. So this is a nice new addition to Google Search Console, which continues to be more and more useful as they add more things like this. That's all I got for the good stuff.
That's extra special geeky this week. I do not have bad news because it was a week of bad news, and so I tried to avoid having bad news. But I have some other good stuff when we get there.
All right. Well, I got some bad news. I got your back. So I had to send a password protected document to someone this week, and in order to do so, I needed to subscribe to Adobe's Acrobat Pro to unlock the feature that allows you to implement a password protected document. Just for the record, it's $14.95 a month for Acrobat Pro. There's a 7-day free trial, which is what I got. But every time I tried to password protect this document, I would get this error message that read, "The document could not be saved, bad parameter." I spent an entire morning researching and troubleshooting to try and figure out what the hell was going on, why I couldn't add a password to my document. But then I noticed in the document itself, buried in it, was a section where it was requiring a signature. So I printed out the PDF, I signed it, I scanned the signed copy, and because the scanned copy of the PDF I had did not have a requirement that somebody sign the document implemented within the coding of the document itself, I was able to add a password protect to the document and get it off to the person. Spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, annoying as hell, and a horrible user experience and user design interface that should have been solved by Adobe, so it wouldn't have wasted my time in researching this. Parameter, for example, is a programmer's term. It means nothing to most users. So it's a cryptic error message, and it not only did not help me in any way, it was incredibly aggravating because I didn't know what was wrong. So Adobe should have implemented their information architecture for this program by having an error message that read, the document could not be saved, signature required. Tell me specifically what's wrong. And then when you click OK to dismiss the error message, take you directly to the part of the form that requires a signature, so it's obvious what you need to do. I mean, it's that simple. It's a problem with programmers not using plain language and not thinking of the users that are going to be using it. So,
doesn't Dropbox let you password protect your documents? I believe it does.
That's for download. Yeah, I don't think of that, but anyway.
Yeah, I use Dropbox.
Here's another one that I came across for worst, and this is from the Star Tribune's Paul Walsh. So University of Minnesota, the University of Minnesota's mascot is a gopher, and the school's colors are maroon and gold. So the sports teams are referred to as the Golden Gophers. There's a fan website called gopherhole.com that tweeted a photo that included a photo that was tweeted from Kylie Carpenter of a maroon onesie sporting a block letter M insignia for the University of Minnesota, and with the words Minnesota Badgers. So the Badgers are the nickname for our rival in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Badgers. So Target, this was at Target. Target's statement about this was, color us red. As a Minnesota-based company, we know we are home to the Gophers. We've worked with our vendor to remove this item and apologize to any sports fans who might have been left scratching their head. The writer of this article points out that Target's color is red. Wisconsin Badgers color is red, and red is also the color of embarrassment. So this tweet prompted other Twitter users to tweet about previous Gopher sports apparel goof-ups over the years. There was a Gopher shirt that was bought at Macy's here in Minnesota with a map of Oregon on it. Another Minnesota shirt with Hawkeyes on the inside of the back color. Hawkeyes, of course, is the Iowa Hawkeyes. So yeah. I mean, if you're a buyer for retail, you might want to, if you're doing sports stuff, might want to double check your merchandise to make sure it's
that's like mistaking what state Kansas City is in.
Right. There you go.
So that brings us to shiny objects. Yes.
Yes, what do you got?
So I got a really good one after this. There's a new magazine called Podcast Magazine. It's from Steve Olsher of Podcast Guests. And you can get a lifetime digital subscription now for a limited time on their website, and all it costs you is an email address. The magazine can be read on desktop, PCs, and on mobile devices with the Podcast Magazine app. Forbes reviewed it positively. It's really actually quite impressive, and it's definitely worth your time to take a look.
All right, I've got the YouTube tag generator. This is a website that does that. It generates tags for YouTube videos. You can search by keywords to generate related tags that using that keyword. You can extract tags from individual videos, so plug in the URL of the YouTube video, or from a YouTube channel, so plug in the URL of a YouTube channel and can extract the tags that those individual videos or YouTube channels are using. So useful for video marketers.
That's a good one. Okay, you're going to like this one, Dave, that I can finally get a smart speaker because now there's a prototype called the Bracelet of Silence. This is from a New York Times article. It will jam the Echo or any other microphones in the vicinity from listening in on your conversations. So the bracelet is like an anti-smartwatch. It's kind of got a cyberpunk aesthetic, and its purpose is defeating technology. So it's kind of ugly. It's a white cuff with these spiky transducers. It has 24 speakers that basically emit ultrasound signals when you turn it on. So the sound is imperceptible to most ears, with the possible exception of young people and dogs. But nearby microphones will just detect high frequency sound instead of other noises. Now, I'm one of those people with dog ears, and when you go so I would hear it, but when you go into a store and they have this security noise that's supposed to keep young people from shoplifting, it's like, oh my God, I can't stand that noise. So I'm sure this might have the same effect on me, but it's the only way I'm going to let those things into my house.
It's funny. I was going to put that into next week's show, so you beat me to it. But yeah, just for you.
Okay, you got another one?
Yeah, this is quick. So Google Podcast is now searchable. So podcast.google.com has a homepage, which it didn't have before. You just get links from search results to individual podcasts or podcast episodes. But now it has a homepage, and from the homepage you can search it. So there you go.
And play them, right?
You can always play them, but yeah.
Can you subscribe?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of not so great.
Yeah. Probably from the app. The app, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I have a pro tip, and this is an SEO tip. Google's made this huge change to no follow, and they've introduced 2 new link attributes. I get these things all the time from people who want to buy a sponsored post with do follow links, and I say, these are not my rules, these are Google's. So the 2 new link attributes join the no follow are sponsored, rel equals sponsored, which identifies links that were created as sponsored or advertising, and rel equals UGC, which identifies user generated content such as comments and forum posts. So this is from a Google Search Console post, and so Google had frowned on these attributes before, and but now going forward, each of these 3 attributes are going to be treated as hints about which links to include as ranking signals. So they're not going to be ignored, which they were up until now. And there's no need for site owners to change how they use nofollow because they will still recognize that, but they recommend switching to sponsored when it's appropriate. So I think that's a really good change.
Yeah, this is a good change. It sounds like sponsored is superseding nofollow.
Yeah,
sounds like they want sponsored to be used instead of nofollow in the future.
Yeah,
from here on out. Yeah. Okay. So mine this is from the Atlantic article I mentioned in the previous episode. The article points out that some conservatives have been experimenting with a scheme to exploit the credibility of local journalism by publishing these websites with innocuous sounding news sounding names like the Arizona Monitor and the Kalamazoo Times. The Kalamazoo Times, and I do remember seeing some stuff pop up in my social media feeds from the Kalamazoo Times, and I've seen a couple of these and thought they don't sound like any news organization I've ever heard of, but they sound credible enough that lots of people can be fooled by them. So at first glance, they look like regular publications. They have community notices and they cover school events and stuff. But on closer look, there's no masthead. There's few if any bylines. There's no address for local offices. So all the things that a legit news organization would have, they don't. So those are the things to watch out for if you are wondering whether it's a legit news organization site that you've come across. Many of them are organs of Republican lobbying groups, and some others belong to a company called Locality Labs, which is run by a conservative activist in Illinois. They give no indication that they have a political agenda. So candidates looking to plant a negative news story will use these sites to get their headline into the information ecosphere. And by working through a third-party consulting firm instead of paying these sites directly, they obscure their involvement in it, and they when they have to file their expenditures with the FEC. Even apart from that, even if you recognize these for what they are in your news feed, they can still pull their headlines that they plant these stories and use them in their campaign commercials and fundraising emails and citing them as from the Kalamazoo Times or whatever. And people are likely not going to question them and consider those reputable sources. So buyer beware out there.
Most people just do not bother to vet their information and just repeat it. And I don't know, this is going to be such a dirty campaign. And I was going to include a story about Facebook, who just said that they're going to allow memes and they're not going to identify them as advertising. They're not going to index them as advertising. It's going to be such a dirty race. I wish it was over, frankly. I wish that all political advertising could be banished and we could just be in December.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, give us your daily numbers, Dave.
All right. Well, yesterday was Valentine's Day, so this is appropriate for Valentine's Day. This is how couples meet or met. This is a survey of more than 5,000 American heterosexual adults. It's how couples meet and stay together surveys run by Stanford University. So in its comparison from 1995 to 2017. In 1995, 33% of heterosexual U.S. couples met through friends, and that went down to 20% in 2017. In 1995, they met through bar and restaurant. 19% said they met through a bar and restaurant, and that went up to 27% in 2017. 19% in 1995 said they met at work, and that was down to 11% in 2017. 19% said at school or college, and that was down to 9% in 2017.
No, really?
Yeah. 15% in 1995 said through family, and that was down to 7% in 2017. And in 1995, 2% said they met online, and by 2017, that was at 39%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense. But
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they're not meeting at school. That's very strange to me. I mean, you have the time and the hormones and the inclination.
Exactly. Maybe it has something to do with more online learning. I don't know. That's interesting.
I don't know. That's really crazy. But anyway, that brings us to the end of episode 296, does it not? Or did we have more? Okay, so I want to thank you for watching episode 296, listening. And if you want to find us, just search Beyond Social Media Show. Links to everything we're talking about today will be at beyondsocialmediashow.com/296. And I'm here with David Erickson, who's on Twitter as D. Erickson, on Instagram as DE Erickson, on YouTube as eStrategy, and he blogs at the really wonderful eStrategyblog.com, eve-strategyblog.com. I'm BL Ochman. I'm What's Next on Twitter. My blog is What's Next Blog. My YouTube channel is What's Next Blog. The show again, beyondsocialmediashow.com, and on Twitter, we're BS Media Show, and we will be back next week. Same time, same station. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.